Theater news from around town, and we begin with Red. Written by Broadway newcomer John Logan, Red comes to our showers via a sold-out run at the Donmar Warehouse in London. In this two-character play, Alfred Molina stars as real-life artist Mark Rothko, with Eddie Redmayne playing his assistant Ken. Under the direction of Donmar artistic director Michael Grandage, Red addresses a central question: what does art mean to an artist? Onstage recently caught up with the two actors during previews to talk about Red.
The play deals specifically with a 2-year period in his life when he was commissioned to produce some murals for what was for the Seagram building on Park Avenue, Park and 52nd, which at the time was the cutting-edge, state-of-the-art building in New York. It was, brand new materials, brand new design. It was very, very exciting, very sexy. And the conflict he experienced in creating these murals and eventually refusing to sell them to the Seagram Corporation.
So I play a character called Ken, who arrives on day one at the beginning of the play for a job interview with Rothko, who at the time was already an icon, an abstract expressionist of sort of huge fame, I suppose. And so it's quite a terrifying prospect for this young kid. The play takes place over 2 years, and you watch this guy go from being a nervous kind of green freshman almost to becoming a real opponent for Rothko and in what he believes art to be.
Stay tuned for Roma's review of Red later in the program. Welcome back. Film and stage star Alfred Molina returned to Broadway this past week in John Logan's Red. Direct from a sold-out run at the Donmar Warehouse in London, Red tells the story of the real-life abstract expressionist Mark Rothko and the struggles he faced as a famed artist. And here now with her review of this new play is Roma Torrey. Roma?
All right, thank you, Patrick. There is nothing black and white about Red, a seemingly simple two-character play about abstract expressionist Mark Rothko and his young assistant. Playwright John Logan has penned a remarkable work that in many ways matches the complexities and fascination of Rothko's art. And it's anchored in a profoundly intense production featuring a pair of priceless performances.
Now, what do you see?
Red?
But do you like it? Speak up?
Yes.
Yes, of course you like it. How can you not like it?
It begins on a somber note. Rothko seated in a chair facing one of his murals mounted by pulleys on a giant canvas. The impeccable working set designed by Christopher Oram marvelously recreates Rothko's New York Bowery studio. Then we meet Ken, an aspiring artist who's just arrived to begin work as Rothko's young assistant. What follows is a bizarre episode in the artist's life that's been fairly well documented but seldom explored. Rothko was commissioned in 1958 to create a series of large murals for the Four Seasons restaurant in the Seagram's building that was still under construction. It was worth a lot of money, and Rothko, an unyielding and arrogant man, insisted that his restaurant art was not going to be mere decoration. Rather, he said his aim was to ruin the digestion of its elitist clientele. Whether that was the true motive is never really known, but in the end, he breaks the deal and gives back all the money. Red is an extremely intelligent play of ideas, dealing with such lofty concepts as the purpose of art, cultural trendiness, commerce versus aesthetics, and much more. The shifting dynamics in this brutally honest portrait of the artist make for the most intellectually stimulating 90 minutes Broadway has seen in years. But it's Michael Grandage's directorial brushstrokes that give it dramatic dimension and polish. This frenzied scene depicting the priming of a canvas is a perfect synthesis of theater and art. And completing the extraordinarily vivid picture, the splendid British actors Eddie Redmayne and Alfred Molina, embodying the American painter with consummate artistry of his own.
You know the problem with these painters? It's exactly what you said. They are painting for this moment right now, and that's all. It's nothing but zeitgeist art. Completely temporal, completely disposable, like Kleenex.
Like Campbell's soup, like comic books.
Oh, you really think Andy Warhol will be hanging in museums in 100 years alongside the Bruegels and Vermeers?
Whether this play will be remembered that long remains to be seen, but Red does have a timelessness about it that's bound to resonate with anyone who appreciates the art of fine theater. Patrick.
So, Roma, do you think this would make a good film?
Yes, I do. John Logan, the playwright, is more established as a screenwriter, and I think this would make a perfect transformation onto the silver screen. It's just got that cinematic quality, and he wrote Gladiator, Sweeney Todd, The Aviator, so he's certainly got some cred, if you will, as a screenwriter. I think it would be marvelous on film. And I hope they keep the actors, because I know they tend to put movie stars in there. Molina and Eddie Redmayne are just terrific.
Great.